working in the spirit of the Golden Empire. Now, from Kern Golden Empire Television, 17 News at 5.
Thousands of Kern County residents came together today to say, yes, it can be done, as they demonstrate in support of immigrant rights. Good evening. Jim and Robin are off tonight. Thousands came from all over to march through the streets of Bakersfield today against what they call arbitrary immigration reform.
Now, the workers, the students, and the parents made their way to Jastrow Park in central Bakersfield. Their message, stopping the immigration reform bill that has been pending in the Senate. 17's Katie Harlan attended the rallies before and after the march, joining us live from the park now with more. Katie?
Good evening, Galen. Just a few hours ago, this area was packed with protesters chanting "Si se puede." It's a phrase in Spanish that means it can be done. It's a phrase they say they will continue to chant until their voices are heard. Si se puede! Si se puede! Police say the National Day of Action on Immigration brought 7,000 to 10,000 people to Jastrow Park. These protesters had one simple message.
If anything, just kind of give us a break, you know, and let us work and let us support our families.
With banners and flags in hand, they united. Speeches were made mostly in Spanish about the immigration reform bill and the need to speak out.
We all have come from every corner of Kern County to the very heart of Bakersfield to proclaim once and for all that we are an essential and permanent part of this community.
People came from all over Kern County. This bus from Lamont carried people of all ages looking to make a difference.
For me, it's very important because some part of my family still doesn't have papers, and we don't think it's fair for them to go back after all the work they're doing here.
Many emphasize they're not afraid of hard work. One woman said this is only the beginning.
If there's an LA, we're going to go to LA, so how many we can go to, that's how many there is going to be.
Most demonstrators were Latino, but others did attend. One man made a statement with a sign that read "Amnestia."
There's no reason they should leave. I mean, I'm not aware why they should leave if they've been here for, you know, a certain amount of years. We're talking about deporting 11 million people. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Protesters from today's rally want three different things: fair immigration laws, strong but fair borders, and legalization for all. Now, organizers are already planning the next rally. It's scheduled for Sunday, April 23rd. Reporting live in Jastrow Park, Katie Harlan, 17 News.
Thanks, Katie. Immigration reform may be at a standstill, but protesters moved ahead anyway in the streets of downtown today. 17's Tisha Lewis joins us live from central Bakersfield with more on the protesters today. Young and old, Tisha, out there.
Maya, the march started and ended here at Jastrow Park. Old and young alike took to the streets of downtown Bakersfield to make their voices heard. Thousands chanted a message of support for what they call fair immigration laws. They're hoping to get your attention and the attention of President Bush.
We're marching for we can have equal rights and freedom. I'm a vet of this country, and I believe that we should all be free and be able to work here, you know, and have all the benefits that we can to make better lives for our families.
Protesters are asking the president to listen to their cry to support fair immigration reform. From Jastrow Park through the streets of downtown, thousands marched chanting and carrying posters. People of different races and ages came together. At the center of the debate, a failed House bill that would have made it a felony to enter this country illegally or help undocumented immigrants. Some say if it wasn't for family members crossing the border illegally, they would never have had the advantages of democracy.
I'm one of four that were actually born here. All my brothers and sisters, you know, were born in Mexico. And if it wasn't that my mom crossed the border, as a matter of fact, when I was a baby, and if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
Today's march was organized by the Heritage of America Cultural and Educational Foundation. Coming up on 17 News at 6, a solution to the growing immigration problem. Protesters sound off. We're live in central Bakersfield. Tisha Lewis, 17 News.
Now, this historic rally and march in Bakersfield brought out people who wanted to wave their flags. There were flags of different nations or causes, but none as prevalent as the American and the Mexican flags. And they waved their flags proudly. 17 Sandra Gonzalez joins us live at Jastrow Park with more on these flags and what they mean to the people carrying them. Sandra.
Galen, nothing brings out emotions like the flags. But today, the people we spoke to say they don't carry the flags of other nations to protest the U.S., but rather to show their pride in their heritage and as a sign of support to family members who immigrated to the U.S. This was a flag-waving crowd, proud to be American, but also proud to be Mexican, or from other Latin American nations like Venezuela and El Salvador. Some chose to carry only Old Glory and show their American pride, even though they're just as proud of their Mexican heritage.
What for? Because this is where I live. This is where I want to be. This is where I want my future for. And this is where I want to die.
Nuria Rodriguez says her relatives brought their Mexican flags. Meanwhile, there were many others who also chose to wave the stars and stripes, like Martin Recio, who came to the U.S. 26 years ago.
I'm still Mexican, but, I'm both. I don't know if I can explain that. I'm a Mexican, still Mexican, but I'm an American citizen too. So,
because of recent criticism for carrying the Mexican flag, organizers of this event encouraged people to bring the American flag, but some people just couldn't put the Mexican flag away, and some families carried both flags. The Mendoza family wanted to be here to show its support for immigrant rights and proudly carried both flags.
We want to live here. Of course, my mom is from Mexico, my husband's from Mexico, and we want to live here and, have both flags showing that we want to be in peace.
Still others preferred waving the red, white, and green as a symbol of origin, not as a slap in the face against the U.S. Now, again, they say that their flags were about pride and roots. Now, coming up on 17 News at 6, more on carrying the Mexican flag and a flag that symbolizes a movement. Live at Jastrow Park, Sandra Gonzalez, 17 News.
Despite the thousands of protesters gathering in downtown, authorities say it was a peaceful demonstration. The Bakersfield Police Department estimates between 7,000 and 10,000 people participated in the rally today. The Sheriff's Department also assisted the BPD with a patrol crew and the sheriff helicopter making flyovers. They made no arrests and there were no reports of injuries.
We were able to maintain a safe environment for the marchers to rally in, and also protecting the downtown community.
The Bakersfield Police Department credits rally organizers for communicating with their department prior to the rally to ensure there wouldn't be any problems. Several protesters were in downtown protesting those who were rallying against immigration reform.
No legals, no stay. It has to be done. It has to be done legally. As long as they do it legally, that's not a problem. But that's what we're all here saying. That's what we're all protesting against. That this country, this flag.
A group gathered on the corner of Truxton and Chester to protest the people as they marched by. They say it's fine if immigrants come to America legally. They just do not approve of those who come to work in this country illegally. Some protesters were also upset with the ralliers for not waving both the Mexican and the American flags.
Just a little sidebar for you we thought you might find interesting. Today marks the 76th birthday of Dolores Huerta. She's the co-founder of the United Farm Workers Union.
Well, during today's immigration reform rally, thousands of people sang the traditional birthday song to Dolores in Spanish and both English. She was born April 10th, 1930. Dolores Huerta has dedicated her life to being an advocate for immigrant workers' rights. Huerta left teaching and co-founded the UFW with Cesar Chavez in 1962. And in a second straight day of massive demonstrations across our nation, legal and undocumented immigrants and their supporters called on Congress not to crack down and called on Americans to respect immigrants, not fear them. Steve Handelsman has the latest now from Washington.